These are facts. I realize how exciting this must be for everybody. And now I wish it would just go away. Because nobody cares about that anyway. So, I know human psychology. Is it likely? 100%. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump are well-known good friends. MAGA likes to forget that. Everything you know about Jeffrey Epstein legally happened while Donald Trump was president. This is like when MAGA tried to tell you that COVID was Biden's fault. Holier than thou people are never holier than thou unless, of course, you've got the hole that they're being holy about. Calling them idiots, he's calling them weak. Maybe he'll just piss himself one of these times at the podium. I would bet a lot that Trump is on that list. I don't think anybody cares. They seem pretty stupid, cupping those balls like nobody's business. I don't read your comments, so I don't care.
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to another edition of Hard Rock Lunchbox. It is going to be a very steamy July 17th, 2025. I realize that we spent a long time waiting for summer, and some of us, much like myself, even pining away for summer, and now I wish it would just go away. I can't tell if I'm just dealing with another flare-up of chronic fatigue, but I was so wiped out last night, like I could barely function, and literally the only physical activity I did was walk up to the chiropractor and walk back. I mean, it's like 2+ miles or whatever there and back, and I can't tell if just the heat of the day just sapped my life force from me, or maybe the humidity. Also, what's going on with my hair here? Well, it's very porcupiney up top, and I guess that's just something you'll have to enjoy. As I said, it's another edition of Hard Rock Lunchbox, and if you're watching on Strangerhood TV on YouTube, welcome to the Top 20. It's going to be episode 235 of the Top 20, and I truly don't know how I feel about that anymore. Honestly, even I haven't looked at it, so I'm really definitely wondering, whether or not it's something worth continuing. I feel like it is, and I feel like it has some value, but the metrics don't really show that it has any value, so I don't know what to do. I do know that, it does get a bunch of views, way down the line and stuff. I feel like some restructuring is probably in order here, and I am not somebody that's capable of restructuring when I'm in a good position. I am a stay the course kind of person. I really abhor disruptions, and I have a whole bunch of mental suitcases to prove that and to deal with that. But I am definitely I don't know. Well, now I'm checking the chat. Did WNRR die? I hope not. Did it die? Let me take a quick look. One second. I thought we were broadcasting, but maybe not. Let me just do this super technical, just double check of the... I realize how exciting this must be for everybody, but let me just quick check. Let's see, play. Oh no, offline, please try later. What is that about? Hold on. I'm answering the chat. See, those of you who don't think I'm attentive, you're incorrect. I don't think... let me check. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to forward this to my station manager. By the way, if you've never listened to Jackie Raven's show, she's a metal chick, and so it's some good hard rock music. But let me message real quick. Okay. Yeah, I know this is super pro, but this is important, I think. Jackie, I'm going to send her this picture of it being offline. And of course, why wouldn't Facebook be a problem? Because Facebook's always a problem. People are always talking about the problems that are social media, but they never talk about... They're always talking about stuff like, oh, it's bad for kids and stuff like that. But what it really is just annoying when it doesn't work. Anything up? Question mark. Okay. All right. I have messaged my manager. Oh, hold on. Hold on. I have messaged my manager. I really can't even. You know, like when you just can't even. Well, this is that. I can't even odd. I can't do anything. I've messaged Jackie. Maybe I'll get an answer. Maybe I won't. Sometimes it's like as simple as they've got to unplug it and plug it back in, or turn it off and turn it on again. Which is funny because I'm actually in tech. Like, I mean, it's mainly software, but it's like tech adjacent, so I actually know that one. Boy, I'm here, and I guess I'll do the show, even though nobody can hear it. Yeah, top 20 chat. Top 20 chat. I wish I could just AI my show, and then it would just go right in there, but I really can't do both. Let me check the stream. Okay, Jackie is gonna check the stream. Hopefully, man, I really, hopefully she doesn't cross the stream, because we found out that was bad in Ghostbusters. So, okay. Anyway, so while we're waiting for an update on that, I guess I might as well just go ahead with whatever I'm going to go ahead with. I had a couple things I did. Oh, we should do some light housekeeping because nobody cares about that anyway. So there is a new top 20 out, which is very valuable if you don't get to hear the top 20 live, kind of like now. And this is the episode of DJ versus Traffic Court, and I go through the whole rigmarole of me going to traffic court, how it ended up, why it was a waste of everybody's time, and why it was just a waste of my total existence. I do talk about the Republicans or sneaky Republicans in Congress and all the stuff that's going on with the big, beautiful, ridiculous bill and all that other stuff. So that's on Strangerhood TV, and that is episode 234. So check that out. Again, I'll figure out. Obviously, I'm probably not going to do anything with the top 20 until I have some sort of epiphany, or just decide to not do it anymore, or decide to do something more important with it. Like I was posting it a lot for a little while, and it was getting a few more views, but it didn't sustain anything, so it really didn't become worth my time. So I was going to talk a little bit about the Epstein stuff. I was actually going to talk a little bit about the last show we did at Whiskey Rocks, because it did not go well for me at all on a professional or, well, personally, I guess it was all right. But on a professional level, it really is, it's posing another problem that's sort of something that has gone on through our local music career, and it's specific only to the local music scene, and it's just kind of rearing its ugly head again, and I don't like it, and I'm also very bad at dealing with it for whatever reason, so I don't like that. I will say there is a video post of basically our entire set. I shared it on my personal page on Facebook, and it's on the Revel 9 page on Facebook if you want to check it out. Mike Herman took a video of basically the entire set and posted it actually with notation, so you can check out the songs. And what's significant about that is I've known Mike Herman a very long time. He kind of comes from the I Ignite camp and stuff, so I've known him maybe a decade plus. To this day, well, not to this day, up until Thursday of last week, or up until Friday of last week, actually, he had never videoed or posted a Revel 9 show, ever. And I didn't know why that was. I had considered asking, but it felt kind of really just gross to ask, so I didn't. So it was really quite the shock. In fact, I didn't even see it at first, because I'm just not on Facebook if I can avoid it at all, and Kaz mentioned that it was on there, so I went up and I posted, reshared it, and I thanked him explicitly for it and DM'd him a direct thanks for that. And yeah, that was kind of that. So if you're interested in checking out what Revel 9 looks like live, the sound is kind of iffy because it's a lot of distortion because Noodle hits his cymbals like a gorilla that hasn't eaten all day. So you're going to get what you get sound quality-wise. But it was kind of nice to actually just sort of see it up there. Something we just do not get a lot of video of us for. I don't know why that is. I do feel like there is a part of our core fan group that is busy watching the show as opposed to filming the show, which is always kind of nice. So I appreciate that. But as a result, there is usually very little video of us unless we're explicitly videotaping something, which we've certainly done over the years. But we just can't seem to get it together enough to do it recently. So that was cool. Okay, let me just message Jackie back. Thank you, because I am still polite. So yeah, I guess I'll just let you know what's up, and we'll see how that goes. So, all right, so there's probably not much reason to talk about it now, since no one that I would need to hear me can hear me until next week, in which case I might not feel any way about it. About the whole local show thing, but if I feel so inclined next week, I guess I'll talk about it. So we can delve into the Epstein thing, because this will be probably more interesting after the fact. So personally, I don't really care about the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. Like, I don't. I mean, I know it's awful to sex traffic, and it's awful certainly to sex traffic in young boys and girls. Like, these things are abhorrent, and, like, I don't even feel like you need to comment on it. I don't even feel like you need to be like, I'm against this, because you ought to be against it. Like, the first thing, like, if you aren't against it, I feel like that needs to be said, and then we can all judge you harshly and equally. But I think it just kind of goes without saying that the whole Jeffrey Epstein, you know, everything that he was accused of, or, you know, they were or suspecting or alleging, or whatever the right word is just disgusting and abhorrent. I mean, but let's be honest about this for a second. Like, rich and powerful, generally white men have been sexually abusing people forever. I mean, forever. Like, for as long as they possibly could. The fact that they delve into minors is just gross and disgusting. I mean, like, it just is. It just is disgusting, and that's just kind of the way that goes. But so I want to be very clear that I'm very anti everything Jeffrey Epstein did, or everything that he stood for, and everything that he represents. And, you know, yeah, are rich and powerful people probably caught up in this thing? Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, I'm not even a conspiracy theorist, but what I am is a humanist and a sociologist to a degree. Like, I know human psychology. It is my area of study. And so, is it likely that it happened? Of course. I mean, seriously, like, how many sex rings do you see get busted in your local area? I mean, and that's just low-level stuff. Like, prostitution exists, for sure. And sexual abuse of minors and sex trafficking absolutely exists, for sure. And we see evidence of it all the time. People go to jail for it all the time. So, is it possible that this existed? Absolutely. Is it likely? 100%. Did it happen? Yeah, I'm pretty much in the high 90s that thing existed. Also, Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump are well-known good friends. The fact that he's trying to distance himself from that now is just bananas. I mean, and I see it all the time. I remember when, God, was it Black Coast Collective? I forget, East Coast. So one of the collectives around here, like years ago was like this big, powerful juggernaut putting on all these shows of 20-something bands and just exploiting everything that you could about 20-something bands. And don't think I wasn't a part of it when I was in a 20-something band. Of course I was. There were less 20-something bands back when I was 20 because there just weren't as many, everybody thinking they could be in a band situation. But it exists, and it was a thing. But I do remember, like, I don't even remember the exact details, but like the head of it, or the main guy of it, had said something like publicly, like anti-LGBTQ, and the entire community turned on him immediately, and then it just sort of dissolved. Like, it is just, like, people just immediately, like, will distance themselves from anybody that, like, has some sort of off flavor. And I realize that that's part of cancel culture and stuff like that, but, like, the point I'm trying to make is that if you think that everybody you know is exactly of like mind and maybe some people don't have these thoughts, like, you're being foolish. Like, unless you've done the vetting process and have gone through enough iterations of this, then, like, you don't really know what other people think or other people feel or what their relationships with other people were. Like, there is clear video and documented interview evidence that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were friends to some level, right? Now, obviously, Trump is famous for just turning on people because he uses people like Kleenex because he's a narcissist, right? Like, it only, whatever benefits him at whatever given time is what's important to him. But here's what I wanted to get to. What I find absolutely fascinating about the whole Epstein thing is that, first of all, let's be quite clear. Like, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and the case was prosecuted under the Donald Trump administration. MAGA likes to forget that, and they do love to blame all the Clintons and all that other stuff. But, like, Jeffrey Epstein also killed himself or whatever happened to him under Donald Trump's Department of Justice watch. Everything you know about Jeffrey Epstein legally happened while Donald Trump was president the first time. And he likes to distance himself from that, but that's the case. So the prosecutors that were prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein and absolutely have some sort of intimate knowledge about what was going on then were Donald Trump's Department of Justice attorneys. And in an interesting development this morning or last night, the Trump administration just fired the lead prosecutor or one of the lead prosecutors of the Jeffrey Epstein case. Remember, this is like 2017, 2018. Like, it's so clearly Trump's fault. This is like when MAGA tried to tell you that COVID was Biden's fault, even though it absolutely happened under the Trump administration. Like, the denial, like, 2-year-olds, like, no, that wasn't me, even though, you know, you've got the ice cream around your mouth. Like, I didn't eat the ice cream. Like, the lies that these people tell and then convince themselves to believe is just bananas. So let's get that quite clear, all right? I have more to say about that prosecutor that just got fired and my prediction about what's coming next. But what really, really interests me about all of this is that one of the pillars and tenets that the Trump team ran on for up to the 2024 election was that they were going to release the Epstein files, right? Apparently there were these magical Epstein files that were going to implicate all these high-level Democrats because only Democrats can be, you know, perverts and, you know, sexual miscreants, even though more Republicans in Congress have to get ethics reviews and ethics referrals for basically banging young male interns, which I find absolutely hysterical. Like, not that, you know, I find it gross that you would do that anyway, but the fact that these holier-than-thou people are never holier-than-thou unless, of course, you've got the hole that they're being holy about. Hey, come on. So despite all that, this is a big deal, and this is a huge deal to the MAGA base. And if you haven't been paying attention, I would encourage you to actually pay attention to this, because the right-wing, the real hardliner MAGA people are so angry at the Trump administration that they're calling for Pam Bondi to be fired. Now, she should be fired for gross incompetence and also for being just an absolute ass about the way she conducts her job and weaponizing the Department of Justice. But, like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, this is the first real time that Trump has actually turned on his base and is calling them idiots. He's calling them weak. He's calling his Republican supporters in Congress weaklings and dupes for falling for the Democratic, you know, plot to do all this Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, it is just bananas what this old senile man is starting to say. And by the way, if you don't think Trump is slipping, then you aren't paying attention, or you never paid enough attention to grandma to recognize the signs. This dude is losing his mind, and it is fun as F for me to watch, because I hope he deteriorates in such an embarrassing way that not only does his babbling continue, but then he starts drooling, and maybe he'll just piss himself one of these times at the podium, and I will just die laughing. So I'm going to need an ambulance on standby for sure. But the MAGA base, like the Bongionos or whatever, and the Charlie Kirks and the one talking head on Fox, like, they're really pissed about this because they want the Epstein list, and that's why people as high up in Congress as Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, third in line to the presidency, is now calling for Pam Bondi to come explain herself, because a few months ago she said the client list was on her desk, and now she says it doesn't exist. So what they've done, and there's been theories and speculations that Trump is on that list. Like, I would bet a lot that Trump is on that list. Whether or not he had sex with underage girls, I can't tell you. I don't know. And honestly, even the thought just skeeves me out a little bit. But did he hang with Jeff Epstein? Absolutely. We have proof of that. We absolutely have proof of that. Is he a is he a predator, a sexual predator? Yeah, we have proof of that too. We have the grab him by the pussy tape. We have all the times he was on the Stern Show talking about why he bought the Miss Universe or Miss World or whatever pageant, because he used to like to just drop by the dressing rooms unexpected and catch them naked. He thought that was funny. We have the apparent rape trial and then the slander trial of E. Jean Carroll. We have all these other women who say that he abused them. He banged porn stars and then paid them to shut them up. Like, these are not disputable facts. Like, these are facts. These have happened, and he's been married, almost a half a dozen times. Like, there is no way that Donald Trump is not a sexual predator. So, is it possible? Of course it is. Is it likely he's on this list in some capacity? Absolutely. Is that probably the reason that they're not releasing the list? I got to tell you, I don't know. And I will say that my gut feeling says that him being on the list doesn't matter so much, because I don't think anybody cares. I mean, this guy got elected after the Access Hollywood tape. He got elected after the Stormy Daniels nonsense. I don't think his base cares. And as he has proudly said numerous times, he could kill somebody on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan and he'd still get elected president. So my gut is telling me that somebody that he's actually afraid of is on that list, or somebody's. Maybe there's more. And I don't want to be conspiratorial and start another conspiracy theory, but I just don't think him being on this list is enough for him to care, because it's not going to cost him his base. I don't think. They seem pretty stupid. Like, his core base seems to believe anything that he'll tell them because it's what they want to believe. And as we know, anything from like stuff like the Dunning-Kruger effect, the more you want to believe something, the more you're going to continue to believe it in face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. That's just human nature. And it becomes more and more human nature as your IQ drops, which, as study after study has shown, the average MAGA American has a lower IQ than the average non-MAGA American. I'm not even saying Republicans, the average MAGA American, because they want to just believe in all this stuff. That's just not, these are the same people believe in flat earthers, all the, all that stuff, It's just that COVID was a conspiracy, like just all that. They believe in all of it because conspiracy theories are exciting and they can get their little, squirrel running brains behind it. It's just true. And you can argue with me all you want on TikTok. I don't read your comments, so I don't care. So it's just, these are well-known things and well-documented things in many cases. But so my gut tells me that it's not him that's the problem, that there are others. There's another, or there are others that are actually on these lists that are like, if you release this, I will end you. And I will say, he is afraid of really powerful people, especially people with more money than him, because he wants that money and he will curry that favor with those people. He doesn't want to be a pariah among the rich elite. He wants their money. And that's just the game plan that Trump has always kind of run by. And I will tell you, as they keep trying to deny that this exists, they have made this very weird pivot over the past, couple of days. And this new pivot is, and you'll see this new pivot is that not that so much that it doesn't exist, but that it's fake, that it's been written by Obama, or Biden, like this. I thought he couldn't even get two thoughts together because he was incompetent. Now he constructed this entire fake list that also the Donald Trump administration in 2017 had first. So let's not do that. But he is now pivoting to this is all nonsense, that none of this is real. And the reason he's doing that is because he knows that eventually this is going to come out. So instead of denying that it exists, he is now shifting to nothing you see in this is going to be real, so don't believe it. And I guarantee you 20% of America or 25% of America of his core base is going to start saying that the Epstein list isn't real. It's just made up, and that Obama wrote it, or Clinton wrote it, or Biden wrote it, or Rahm Emanuel wrote it, or whoever wrote it. They're just trying to discredit the whole thing. And that is why they fired this prosecutor today, one of the lead prosecutors. That's why they fired her, because now she is going to go, and she's free from all of those clauses that protect her from talking about things, so she's going to be able to say things. This is also why they are desperately trying to prevent Ghislaine Maxwell from testifying in Congress, because they're already trying to discredit her. Like, oh yeah, she ran sex trafficking, of course she's going to lie to Congress. She's got nothing to lie about. She really has no reason to do it. So why would she? I mean, yeah, people lie all the time. Trump lies all the time without a reason to do it. So I guess it's possible. But, like, make no mistake, in the coming days and weeks, all you're going to see is that Fox News is going to be like, oh, the Epstein list is fake, so we should just drop it. Although I will say some of the right-wing blogosphere and MAGAsphere is definitely holding on to this. So it's going to be a very interesting civil war to kind of see. I have no idea. It's going to be interesting to see where somebody like J.D. Vance stands on this, because all he wants to do is be president after Trump leaves. So he is just cupping those balls like nobody's business. So he probably won't say anything, but who knows? At some point, if there is a real civil war and they start looking at the 25th Amendment to get Trump out of office, because his dementia is definitely picking up for sure, he's also breaking the law all over the place. Like he really is, which is why a lot of his stuff is in court. Like not even president stuff, like other stuff. Like he's still on the hook in Georgia for election interference. An appeals judge just turned down his request, or Mark Meadows' request, to move it to Washington to a federal court. And they said no, because Mark Meadows wasn't acting in any official capacity of the executive, because you're not allowed to have anything to do with the election if you're an executive branch member. At best, Congress might have something to do with it, but pretty much it resides in the states. So there is no executive privilege, because you shouldn't have been doing that. You know what I mean? So you can follow that story too on your own. But I have talked enough. It does not look like we are getting anywhere whatsoever on the show, so yeah, no answers yet, so I guess we're still offline. I don't really know what else to say about that, so I guess I'll just start playing some music, and I don't know, maybe hope for the best, and maybe the show will come on at some point. I suppose if it doesn't come on at some point, I'm just going to dip out of it, because there's really no point, but we can do some local music, and at least I'll post that up on the replay, which you can always find at hardrocklunchbox.com, or thetop20.com will bring you right to the replays. And maybe that'll be worth something to somebody.